our protagonist, Yoshito Takemichi, was in deep trouble. The kid was on his last legs, barely able to stand, clutching a wounded shoulder and dragging a sword that felt like it weighed a ton. He tried to convince himself that he needed to escape, but his body just wouldn't respond anymore. Suddenly, in a moment of pure clumsiness, or maybe just bad luck, he trips and takes a nasty fall, dropping his sword. He tries to call for help, crawling on the ground, crying and sweating cold, but no one appears. You know that moment when you need a miracle? Yeah, the miracle didn't come. Instead of help, what appears is a giant foot stomping the ground with a boom. It was a high-ranking demon, and the creature's face was anything but friendly. Even though he was terrified, Yoshito stands up, cursing his own weakness, and decides to face the monster. He admits, through tears, that he's always been pathetic, but screams at the demon, asking if it was having fun with this. In a burst of courage, he grabs the sword and swears he'll fight to the last drop of blood. Typical anime hero speech before turning the tables, except not today. Yoshito charges in with everything he's got, full of fury and a desire for revenge for all the humiliations he's endured. The demon actually pauses, surprised by the kid's audacity, but the power gap is absurd. The monster takes the hit without even sweating and prepares a spell to finish the job. The boy tries to crawl away, but the demon shows no mercy. The floor begins to crumble, and Yoshito, in despair, realizes this is the end. He had just become a conqueror. His life was just starting, but the system announces, "You died." Pause to explain where the hell they are. The world changed when the mysterious, heavenly demon tower appeared. It became like a real-life RPG. You enter, gain skills, hunt monsters, and get rich with magic stones. Those who enter are called conquerors. The problem? If you die in the tower, you die in real life. Basically Minecraft hardcore mode, but without respawns, or is there? Cut to the ruins. Yoshito's heart is still beating. He wakes up confused, with a splitting headache and the system notifying him that the skill, Infinite Resurrection, will activate in 10 seconds. That's when we discover our protagonist's big mistake. Before entering the tower, he spent his entire life savings, and even went into debt to buy this skill from a shady vendor at the entrance. He thought it was the cheat code to never die. Except the skill was a twisted joke. Every time he dies and resurrects, he loses 50 points from a specific attribute. And poor Yoshito has already died 4 times in this cycle. He lost 50 defense. His defense was 53, meaning he is now made of paper. He lost 70 attack. Now he hits like a feather. He lost 250 health. A strong breeze could kill him. And in this last death, he lost 60 dexterity. The problem? He had 61 dexterity. Now he has 1 point left. His body feels heavy, stiff, looking like he's lagging in real life. He can barely move properly. Yoshito wakes up again, cursing everything and everyone. He realizes he's alive, but his body is locked up due to the lack of agility. He looks around and sees he fell to a lower floor, but something is off. The air smells like an upper floor. All clumsy and uncoordinated, he starts exploring the place, trying to understand what new mess he's gotten himself into. Moments later, Yoshito's eyes lit up. He saw a golden skill stone up ahead. The logic was fast. Gold item equals rare item equals lots of money equals goodbye debts. With that look of someone spotting a meal after fasting for days, he walked towards it. There were no monsters. It seemed too easy. And rule number 1 of any game or movie is, if it's too quiet, something bad is about to happen. And it did. Out of nowhere, a buzzing sound. Before he could think, dozens of swords flew in his direction. One of them hit him straight in the eye. Game over. The system beeps. You died. Infinite Resurrection activates, but the price comes with it. Minus 65 strength. Yoshito respawns gasping, traumatized, and so weak he can barely lift his arms. The tower's trolling was heavy. Instant death for anyone greedy. But the horror show was just beginning. A dragon-type monster comes out of the ground and unleashes a blast of fire. Yoshito turns into barbecue. You died. Penalty, minus 250 health. He comes back, dodges some flames, and finally understands the logic of the place. That golden glow is bait to kill greedy people. No one survives to grab the stone. But Yoshito, operating on the logic of, I'm already screwed, so whatever, decides to keep going. He's already the weakest conqueror anyway. What does he have to lose? He runs, falls into a trap, gets crushed. You died. Penalty, minus 80 mana, minus 55 technique. He respawns, can't feel his body anymore, gets pierced by bayonets. You died. Penalty, minus 90 vitality, minus 40 magic resistance. In the end, he loses 60 intelligence. The protagonist practically turned into a vegetable, drooling and unable to think. But on pure instinct, or stubbornness, his hand reached the stone. The system asks, do you want to use the stone? Since he was in zombie zombie mode and didn't answer, the system got tired of waiting and activated it automatically. Skill acquired. Inversion. Yoshido wakes up suddenly. The drooling stopped, his strength returned. He opens the status menu, expecting to see a disaster, and gets a shock. There are no more red penalty numbers. The inversion skill does exactly what the name implies. It transformed all curses and penalties into bonuses. In other words, the more he fed, died on purpose or not, the stronger he became. The guy turned into a combat machine by accident. The classic case of failing upwards. Now, Yoshido was confident, feeling like the owner of the world. I'm going to be rich, I'm going to be famous, nothing can stop me. He turns to leave and reality comes knocking. To get out of there, he has to pass through all the traps again. His smile faded instantly. Okay, he's strong and immortal now, but pain still exists, and dying hurts like hell. If he dies too many times in a row, his brain might not handle it, and he could go completely insane. Sweating cold, he stares at the path back. He grabs his coat sleeve and starts ripping the fabric, with a crazy or desperate plan forming in his head. Yoshido took a look at his stats and almost couldn't believe it. The investment in deaths paid off. He stood there, calculating if he could now get past the traps on pure skill, without relying on luck. After a few minutes racking his brain, he decided, I'll face it. After all, I don't really have a choice. This time, he didn't crawl. He stood up with enviable confidence, kept a cool head, and activated the chaos. The trap mechanism, which was like a precision clock, fired a rain of arrows and spears. Yoshido became the Flash. He took off running in the middle of the crossfire, believing in his new strength. An arrow grazed him, nearly taking out his eye. A quick flashback of that horrible pain flashed through his mind. Not today, baby. But he dodged with superhuman agility and came out unscathed. He landed with style, realizing that his senses were now sharpened. He saw everything in slow motion. Faster, he thought, and accelerated even more. He passed through waves of explosions that made his ears ring, but he didn't stop. Then, the boss appeared again, that fire-breathing dragon. Only now, the game had changed. Yoshido opened the digital menu, chose a razor-sharp steel machete, and with a single strike, decapitated the beast. But the tower gives no rest. He fell into another trap surrounded by bayonets. The boy's look changed. It became cold, without an ounce of mercy. He started jumping and spinning like a human razor, destroying every trap around him until everything turned into scrap metal. The genius conclusion. He realized that the infinite resurrection plus inversion combo is the most broken thing in the history of the tower. He wants to be the strongest of all, and now he has the path. To get out of the hole he fell into, he jumped so hard he cracked the rock and shot up like an arrow. Up at the top, he ran face to face with the horned demon that killed him earlier. Sorry for the delay, but I came to settle the score, Yoshido said, with zero enthusiasm and a lot of thirst for revenge. The arrogant demon just gave a little smirk. When Yoshido attacked, the monster blocked and pushed the boy away as if he were a child. The demon roared, but Yoshido just taunted. You gonna fight? I can die and come back all day, can you? The fight got serious. Yoshido realized his stats were so high it was actually scary. He landed a precise cut on the demon's leg and dodged the counterattacks. The monster finally understood that the noob from before now hit hard. With a devastating final blow, Yoshido took the demon down. Victory, he thought, but then a bizarre purple light started glowing on the fallen body. Oh no, the famous second phase of the boss. Give me a break. The light brought the demon back to life, but with an upgrade. The creature stood up amidst the smoke, with a malicious smile and huge claws. Yoshido paused to analyze. Wait a minute, you're way too strong for the third floor. What is a monster of this level doing here? The demon didn't want to talk. It opened a pair of giant wings and prepared for the final strike. Yoshido, even though surprised to see winged monsters in that sector, didn't back down. He covered his face, feeling the power of his disadvantages running through his veins, and jumped to meet the demon in the air. Yoshido landed awkwardly, trying to catch his breath, but without letting go of his sword. The violet-eyed demon hovered in the air, staring at the boy with deadly hatred. And of course, the beast wasn't up for conversation. Things got ugly when the demon opened its paws and revealed magic orbs in the center of them. Yoshido, cheeky as always, still cracked a joke. Gonna use the other hand too, or is it too hard? The monster ignored the sarcasm and started throwing everything in sight, rocks, debris, the entire scenery, at the protagonist. Yoshido ran and dodged, sweating cold. Suddenly, the demon appeared behind him. In the palm of the monster's hand, a giant eye opened. Seriously, who designed this thing? Disgusting. The pressure was too much. Yoshido felt his skin almost tear and, you died. The system beeped. Penalty of -40 physical strength. But thanks to the inversion skill, the magic happened, plus 40 physical strength added. The demon, thinking it had won, turned its back and started to walk away. Rookie mistake. Never turn your back before checking the loot. Yoshito respawned instantly, full of hate and hulking out on the penalty. He charged in, and the demon had to scramble to block. Now, the boy's blows were pushing the monster back. Yoshito struck and screamed that he was going to make the beast pay dearly. But the demon was a tough cookie. It concentrated energy, its hands grew, becoming full of bulging veins, and it landed a fatal blow. Yoshito didn't even see where it came from. You died again. Penalty, minus 60 dexterity. Inversion activated, plus 60 agility/speed. Yoshito returned in the blink of an eye. This time, he stood still, motionless. The demon was confused. Suddenly, the boy's eyes glowed red with pure fury. With his new absurd speed, he dashed forward like a lightning bolt and impaled the demon before the monster could even blink. The demon looked down, smiling, not realizing he was already dead. Seconds later, the pain hit, and he began to dissolve into thin air. Yoshito, cold and calculating, murmured, "It's over. If you had infinite lives, we could have played more. But you only have one." The villain's classic skill issue. Exhausted, he sat on the ground. He had won, but he had to die twice for it. He looked at his steel sword and the blade crumbled. The sword couldn't handle his absurd strength. Yoshito sighed, "Yeah, I need better gear." He gathered the magic stones, the loot, that the demon and other monsters had dropped and headed to the safe zone on the first floor, called Hermes. It's a paradise for conquerors. Monsters can't enter, you can rest, and most importantly, there are shops. Yoshito got straight to the point. He spent half of everything he earned to buy a silver sword. It was expensive, it hurt his wallet, but it was much more durable and stronger than the previous one. Now he was armed to the teeth, and with stats so high they were practically bugged. Yoshito tried to ignore the annoying voice in his head and focus on the mission. He needed better equipment. After all, good weapons are an investment, not an expense. But the calm didn't last long. He noticed that several conquerors were whispering and looking at him. Basically, he was the gossip of the day. "Look at that sucker who spent a fortune on that useless resurrection skill." Yoshito just thought, "If only you knew." He smirked. To them, it was a curse. To him, with the secret inversion combo, it was the key to becoming a god. Let them talk. Suddenly, shouting broke the mood. A fat guy, looking like he thought he was the hottest thing around, was yelling. He was beating his chest saying that only he, the great champion Nojishi-sama, could kill the 5th floor boss. Quick context, champion is someone who kills a floor boss. But usually they are, I don't know, humble? This guy wasn't. Yoshito just watched from afar. A girl, Seiki Yamona, was arguing with this Nojishi guy. She threw it in his face. "You became a champion by killing a boss in a 2-floor tower, you weakling. And we found this boss room first." Her friend, the cute and fearful Shiramaki Yuri, tried to calm things down, saying it wasn't worth fighting. Nojishi, with that second-rate villain smile, said, "Shut up and watch the master work. My exclusive shield, Aegis Mimeshins, can withstand anything." That's when Yoshito decided to step in. "What's up, girls?" he said, appearing out of nowhere. The girls were shocked. Nojishi, of course, didn't miss the chance to mock him. "Look who's here, Mr. Resurrection. Here to eat the scraps, loser." He continued insulting him, calling Yoshito trash and pathetic. Yoshito didn't even blink. He ignored the fat guy completely and turned to the girls. "Forget this jerk. Let's the 3 of us kill the boss of the last floor. I'm betting on it." He showed a magic stone in his hand, proving he wasn't joking. Nojishi turned red with anger. "Hey, you worm. Don't ignore me." The fat guy tried to get physical. Big mistake. With the calmness of someone going to buy bread, Yoshito dodged the punch and returned with a hook to the stomach and another to the chin. Pow! Nojishi fell hard to the ground, seeing stars. The silence in the room was absolute. Yoshito looked at the sprawled body and asked, "Are you gonna lie there for a long time or can we go?" After the dust settled and Nojishi woke up, still dizzy, the group headed to the 4th floor. Yuri and Seiki were super worried. "Yoshito, are you sure? You're level 8. We're level 13 and 15 and we're scared." They didn't know that level is just a number when your stats are buffed to the max. Yoshito just laughed. "Relax, it'll be fine." Nojishi, who apparently has no love for life or shame, started with his crooked talk again. "I'll let you watch so you can learn, kid. But don't get in the way." Yoshito rolled his eyes. "Can't wait to see this horror show." And the show started fast. A buzz cut through the air. A ninja-type monster fell from the ceiling attacking Nojishi. The champion raised his fancy shield in fright and managed to block, but was pushed back. The enemy landed with style. It was a lizard man, buffed up and armed with a sharp sword. The lizards growled, showing they weren't playing around. Nojishi, with his usual arrogance, just laughed. "Lizards? Seriously? Seriously? How boring. But Yoshito, with his sharp instincts, realized there was more to it. Nojishi, shut up and look around, he warned. Serious? But the fat guy ignored him. Big mistake. Suddenly, dozens of lizard men came out of the shadows, surrounding the group. And to make matters worse, a giant, buff red lizard appeared. It was the captain, the boss of the pack. The other lizards knelt, and Nojishi finally stopped laughing and started sweating cold. The battle began. Yoshito drew his sword, ready for the fight, with a bloodthirsty smile on his face. But then came the humiliation. Seiki Yamona, desperate, screamed to her friend, Yuri, protect Yoshito. He's going to die. Yoshito was incredulous. Hey, I can take care of myself. I don't need a babysitter, he retorted. But Seiki didn't listen. This isn't the time to play the protagonist, you idiot. You're weak. You don't have a chance against the captain. Stay quiet there. That hurt more than a stab wound. To them, he was still the level 8 noob, a burden that needed to be carried. No one there knew he had killed a high-level demon alone minutes before. He tried to argue, reached out his hand, but everyone was too busy fighting to listen. He was invisible. Meanwhile, Nojishi was getting beaten badly by the lizard captain. The magic shield did nothing when the lizard landed a blow that sent the fat guy flying. But the worst was yet to come. The ground began to shake. The stone floor gave way. But guess who fell? Only Yoshito. The girls screamed, horrified, watching him plummet into the abyss. Nojishi and the others managed to hold on, but Yoshito disappeared into the darkness. Damn it, why is it always me? He thought as he fell. But he wasn't the same weak boy anymore. In the middle of the fall, he spun his body, controlled the impact, and landed like a cat. Didn't even get a scratch, he said, dusting off his clothes. Point for me. He looked around. He was in an underground room full of pillars. And guess who was there? Not common lizards. They were lizard captains. Dozens of them. All red, strong, and armed to the teeth. Any normal person would cry. Yoshito? He smiled. A scary smile. You think I fell into a trap with you? He said, drawing his new silver sword. Wrong. You're the ones trapped in here with me. The mood changed. The lizards sensed the danger. Yoshito charged. Let's test this new toy. A captain jumped to attack. Yoshito didn't even blink. He dodged and cut the beast in half before it touched the ground. Two more came from behind. Yoshito crouched, spun, and two heads rolled. The rest of the lizards stopped, in shock. Their lunch just killed 3 of the strongest in seconds. Yoshito stood there, motionless, with his sword dripping silver blood. He looked at the crowd of terrified monsters. What's wrong? Scared, he taunted. Come on, didn't you want food? Come and get it. The taunt worked. The lizards, their pride wounded, roared and advanced en masse. Yoshito took a deep breath, happy as can be. Finally, a chance to level up for real without anyone to annoy him. This is going to be fun. Yoshito turned into a hurricane of silver and blood. You guys are nothing but free XP, he thought, as he sliced through the lizard captains as if they were butter. The monsters who acted tough before were now shaking with fear. The last one was crying, yes, crying, before meeting its end. Yoshito cleaned his sword, sighed, and said, phew, training's over. He saw a hidden staircase and went up, exiting through double doors back to the 4th floor. There were Mona and Yuri, looking like they were at a funeral. When they saw the boy alive, Yuri almost had a happiness attack and ran to him. You're alive. We thought you had turned into pate down there. Did monsters attack you? She asked, desperate. Yoshito, with the straightest face in the world, smiled. No, it was chill. Just a walk. Blatant lie. The floor down there was carpeted with the bodies of elite monsters. He asked about Nojishi. Mona, huffing with anger, explained that useless fat guy thought you died, triggered the trap by accident or not, and ran to face the boss alone to take the credit. Yoshito wasn't even fazed. Typical. Let's go after him and watch the show. He thanked the girls for waiting. They blushed, surprised by his sincerity. The mood was almost romantic until Yoshito's instinct beeped. Danger. Behind Yuri, a giant lizard that Nojishi forgot to kill, apparently, jumped from the ceiling, ready to slice the girl. Yuri didn't even see it. Mona froze. But Yoshito isn't the same anymore. He exploded in speed, cracking the floor with the impulse. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of Yuri, blocking the deadly attack. Nobody touches her, he shouted, or thought, to keep the air of mystery. Mona took the opening and finished the monster with a precise strike. Yuri was trembling, blushing, and looking at Yoshito with those eyes. Thank you, she whispered. Yoshito, a bit awkward, just said, no problem. Mona watched the two with a malicious little smile. I ship it. But she soon got serious and praised the boy's absurd defense. Yoshito thought, now nobody calls me a burden anymore. They went up to the 5th floor. Yoshito checked the menu, level 10. That's it, he mentally complained. Normal stats rose little. His true strength came from the inverted penalties. With Without them, he would be just a little bit stronger. With them, he was a monster. They arrived at the boss door. It was a gigantic door. Mona explained, no one has ever beaten this boss. We found the room first, but that idiot Nojishi stole our turn. Yoshido opened the door cautiously. Let's see if the champion has already won or if. Before he finished the sentence, something flew across the room and smashed into the wall with a violent crash. It wasn't a bird, it wasn't a plane. It was one of Nojishi's henchmen, flying like a rag doll. Nojishi rose from the rubble as if he were the star of a cheap action movie. The purple orc lord, the floor boss, didn't like the pose. The monster leaped, axe in hand, ready to turn the fat guy into pate. Yoshido shouted, watch out, but Nojishi didn't even blink. He raised his Aegis Mimeshin's shield and bam, the axe stopped dead. A light blinded the orc. Nojishi laughed in the face of danger. Were you worried, kid? Relax, daddy's got this. That surprise attack from the lizards caught me off guard, but mano a mano, no one beats me. And the fight began. The orc hit with full force, causing explosions and tremors, but Nojishi's shield was impenetrable. The champion took everything smiling, taunting the monster until it was blind with rage. Yoshito, watching from the VIP section, analyzed. His stats are average. It's all thanks to the shield. Is this the power of a unique item? When the orc, exhausted and confused, stumbled, Nojishi saw the opening. Now boys, his team attacked together, taking down the giant. Nojishi jumped for the final blow, calling the orc an idiot, and buried his sword in the monster. End of story. The orc lord fell dead. Nojishi, all pompous, turned to Yoshido. So, what did you think of the strength of a true champion? Yoshito, being diplomatic and a little ironic, replied, nice shield. Nojishi puffed out his chest. Yeah, thank the great me for cleaning up your mess. But the celebration stopped when a giant golden chest appeared in the center of the room. It was bigger and shinier than any other. Nojishi's eyes turned into dollar signs. Legendary loot. It's mine. Yoshido felt a chill. Wait, it might be too late. Nojishi opened the chest. Inside, nothing, just dust. Huh? Said the fat guy, confused. Suddenly, the chest exploded in golden light, swallowing the entire room. When the light vanished, they were no longer in the boss room. The scenery changed completely. The air was heavy, suffocating. Mona trembled. This doesn't look like the intermediate floor. Nojishi was pale, sweating buckets. I know this feeling. I only felt this once in my life. Yoshido asked, tense. Where? Nojishi stammered. On the last floor of the tower. A cold wind blew. Purple lights illuminated a colossal throne at the back of the room. Sitting there was a gigantic creature, dressed in black armor, exuding absurd power. It wasn't a common boss. They had been teleported straight to the final boss room. We're screwed. It went very bad. The ogre emperor, owner of the tower, was not in a good mood. The black-armored demon jumped from the throne and the team panicked. Yoshido tried to process, final boss? We're toast. His power level is absurd. The ogre didn't want to talk. He punched the ground and the entire room shook. Yoshido dodged by a hair, but realized instantly, only I can handle this. The rest will die in seconds. He shouted, get out of here. I'll hold him. But Nojishi, stubborn and dumb, as always, retorted, shut up, kid. You die in a minute. I'm the tank here. Nojishi activated his shield and charged, followed by his companions. It was brave, but useless. The ogre emperor didn't even blink. With a single strike of his giant sword, he split Nojishi's indestructible shield in half, and took Nojishi with it. The fat guy fell, bleeding, unable to understand how his legendary item had failed. The system coldly announced, enemy attack exceeded item durability. Item destroyed. One of Nojishi's friends ran to help and says, the ogre cut the boy in half without even looking. Yoshido watched his colleagues die in front of him. Rage welled up inside. He picked up the silver sword from the ground and bit his lip. Mona screamed, we have to run. But the room's door slammed shut with magic. Yuri started crying, accepting death. The ogre raised his sword to finish her off. Not today. Yoshido threw himself in front, blocking the attack with a strength that surprised even the monster. He looked at the girls, his eyes glowing blood red. No one else dies today. Only me. And I can die as many times as it takes. Yoshido turned into a blur. He ran, jumped, and attacked, trying to find an opening in the boss's armor. But the power gap was brutal. The ogre was too fast, too strong. A glancing blow sent Yoshido flying. Mona and Yuri watched with their mouths open. How was that level 10 kid trading blows with the final boss? Yoshido knew the truth. I'm still weak. Even with the buffs, I can't kill him right now. But he had a plan. Or rather, a suicidal stubbornness. Let's see how many deaths I need to surpass you, he thought, smiling like a maniac. He sped up, using his absurd speed to confuse the monster. He managed to land a hit on the ogre's head, then another. The monster roared, annoyed by this fly that wouldn't sit still. The ogre counterattacked with full fury. Yoshido felt the pain, his body screaming. He clenched his teeth. Is this it? Is this my limit? No, the fun has just begun. Yoshido became a yo-yo in the ogre emperor's hand. He attacked, died, came back, attacked again. Mona and Yuri watched from the sidelines, horrified. Mona explained, he loses attributes permanently with every death. He's destroying himself to save us. Yuri cried, how can he still fight? He should have lost his sanity by now. Yoshido, however, was on another level. The penalty, minus 55 ability. Inversion, plus 55 ability. The penalty, minus 20 magic resistance. Inversion, plus 20 magic resistance. The penalty, plus 320 health. Yes, the system bugged out and gave him health straight up, but he inverted it and gained something else. Every time he came back, he felt the excruciating pain of death, but he also felt the power growing. His eyes turned red, injected with fury and madness. More. I need more, he thought, looking at his clean hand but feeling phantom blood. Finally, the jackpot. The penalty, minus 140 attack. Inversion, plus 140 attack. That's it. Yoshido cheered. This is what I needed, but the system had one more gift. New skill unlocked. Resurrection point. Yoshido read the description and smiled. Now he could choose where to respawn within a 3-meter radius. Before, he respawned in the same spot and became an easy target, the classic spawn kill. Now, he could use death as tactical teleportation. Yoshido closed his eyes, concentrated, and died again. But this time, he didn't come back in front of the ogre. He spawned on the monster's back. Time seemed to stop. He saw the look of surprise on Mona and Yuri's faces. Surprise, big guy. He drove the silver sword into the emperor's back. The monster roared in pain. Yoshido didn't stop. He used his insane agility to dance around the boss. The ogre tried to hit him, but Yoshido was already 2 steps ahead. Nojishi and the others were trash. Yoshido thought coldly. But these girls, they cared about me. They deserved to live. The ogre, furious, attempted one last desperate attack. Yoshido, with a look of pure hatred, dodged and jumped. With a devastating blow, now buffed with plus 140 attack, he struck the boss's head. Craig, the ogre emperor, the owner of the tower, fell. The ground shook as the colossal body collapsed, dead. Yoshido sheathed his sword, panting. The system beeped. Tower master defeated. Rewards, unique weapons and magic stones acquired. He barely had time to celebrate. Yuri ran and hugged him tight, crying. We were going to die. You saved us. Thank you, she sobbed, blushing and happy. She realized how tight the hug was and pulled away, apologizing, all embarrassed. Mona, more reserved, also thanked him, but she was serious. Yoshido, thank you, but your fighting style is insane. You died dozens of times. The pain, no one should go through that. You're going to go crazy if you keep this up. She lowered her head, guilty, sorry for being weak and not being able to protect you. Yoshido patted Yuri's head. Don't blame yourselves. It was hard, it hurt like hell, but I had no choice. He sighed, remembering the pain of dying dozens of times. I'll try not to die so much next time, I promise. His smile, even though tired, calmed the girls down. Suddenly, the system beeped. The tower has been conquered. Self-destruction in 10 seconds. They prepared to teleport. Yoshido looked back one last time, seeing the bodies of Nojishi and the others. I'll never forget you, he whispered. Even though they were jerks, they died fighting. Meanwhile, in a fancy office, a powerful woman receives the news. The Tower of Hermes has vanished. Someone defeated the final boss. She smiled, intrigued. Interesting. I wonder who accomplished such a feat. Back at the ruins, Yoshido and the other conquerors appeared, confused. The gigantic tower was dissolving into the air. Yoshido looked at his own fist. I did it. I reached the top. But then reality hit. He was the weakest conqueror. If he told anyone he killed the final boss alone, they would laugh or bombard him with dangerous questions. Better keep quiet, he thought. He tried to sneak away, but Mona, always discreet, shouted, Yoshido, which unique weapon did you drop from the boss? Everyone stopped and looked. That infinite resurrection loser beat the tower? They whispered with envy and contempt. The crowd surrounded the boy like vultures. Hey, show me the weapon. Join my team. How did you do that? Yoshido grabbed the girls and ran. They stopped far away, panting, drinking soda. Mona apologized for her big mouth. Yuri, curious, asked, how do you get stronger by dying? Shouldn't the skill weaken you? Yoshido froze. Telling them about inversion would be revealing his biggest secret. Yuri noticed the awkwardness. You don't have to tell if you don't want to. Mona cut the chatter. Forget that. I want to see the legendary weapon. Yoshido tried to open his inventory, but nothing happened. Oh right, Mona remembered. remembered. Inventory, magic, and stats only work inside the tower or its ruins. It's to protect the real world. They went to the edge where the tower used to stand. As soon as they stepped into the ruins, the air changed. The energy returned. Yoshito reached out his hand. It was time to see the grand prize. What did the ogre emperor leave for him? Finally, Yoshito managed to open the inventory in the ruins. He smiled like a kid on Christmas. The girls approached, curious. The weapon's name appeared, Fos Animos. Fancy name, huh? Mona couldn't even pronounce it right. Yoshito materialized the item. A yellow light exploded, and in his hands appeared a blood-red sword, light, sharp, and drop-dead gorgeous. Yuri cheered, that's a final boss treasure. Yoshito swung the sword, feeling the perfect weight. Ready for the next tower, he said, with a gleam in his eyes. Mona didn't waste time. Hey, how about we form a permanent team? The three of us. Yuri shyly raised her hand. I want to too. Yoshito shrugged, pretending it was no big deal. Fine by me. We already know each other anyway. Mona, bold, got up close to him. So, what's the next destination, champion? The Tower of Zeus? The tallest of them all? Yoshito blushed, but soon returned to the sad reality of an indebted adult. Actually, I need to go to the Tokyo branch. Sell the magic stones. I'm broke, guys. I spent everything on that useless skill and I still owe the shirt off my back. The girls looked at him with pity. Poor hero, rich in power, poor in money. At the Tokyo branch, the place where magic turns into bureaucracy, Yoshito went to the counter and dumped his loot. The attendant almost fell off his chair. A mountain of high-level purple magic stones covered the desk. Sir, I've never seen so many stones at once, the employee stammered. After a while, and a lot of math, Yoshito left with a stack of bills so thick it looked like a brick. Goodbye, debts. Hello, new life, he thought, holding the money with trembling hands. Mona, the voice of reason, annoyingly so, warned, don't go spending it all on nonsense, okay? Money in a poor man's hand disappears like smoke. Yoshito promised to control himself, but he was already mentally buying a mansion. Suddenly, the mood got heavy. The air became dense. A woman in a white suit and blue heels approached. The sound of her heels echoed like thunder. Clack, clack, clack. She was beautiful, with piercing emerald eyes and an aura that screamed danger. I heard a boy brought a mountain of magic stones and is the new champion of Hermes, she said, with a smooth but authoritative voice. She introduced herself, Fuyun Rido, chief of the Tokyo branch. Yoshito froze. He knew her reputation. Her affectionate nickname was Monster in a Skirt. She conquered 3 towers alone. She's a celebrity magazine cover model and basically the most powerful person there. She stared at Yoshito. Give me a minute of your time, champion. I want to know how you killed a final boss when no one passed the 5th floor. She held up 2 fingers. And I want to see what you're capable of. Yoshito swallowed hard. She knew everything. The trap, the teleportation, Nojishi's death. She thanked him for the report, which Yoshito had invented on the spot to cover his tracks, and promised to notify the families of the dead. But her look said something else. She was analyzing every millimeter of him. Fuyun Rido guided the group to a gigantic training field. The atmosphere was heavy. She was still sad about the death of the other conquerors, but Yoshito felt it was a somewhat procedural sadness, like part of the job. He, on the other hand, still felt the weight of seeing Nojishi and the others die. Leaders don't cry for pawns, he thought, wiping a tear. But I do. In the center of the dojo, Fuyun tossed a practice sword to Yoshito. Let's see what you're made of, champion, she said. Yoshito held the sword. It was light, fragile. Just this. Fuyun smiled. A dangerous smile. It's enough to evaluate a young talent. Or would you rather refuse? Her look said, refuse and you die. Yoshito sighed. Alright, let's do this. Seiki and Yuri cheered from the sidelines. Go get her, Yoshito. Show her. Yoshito prepared himself. She conquered 3 towers without dying. I conquered one by dying 50 times. The technical difference is absurd, but I have a trump card. I'm crazy. The fight began. Or rather, the massacre began. Fuyun vanished. In the blink of an eye, she was in Yoshito's face. He barely managed to block. She was fast, precise, perfect. Yoshito was sweating cold, dodging as best he could, performing desperate acrobatics to avoid being humiliated in the first minute. Fuyun attacked from above, below, from the sides. Yoshito was only defending. She's a monster, he thought, panting. Her technique is flawless. She never died, so she never makes mistakes. On the other hand, I learn by failing. And that's when he smiled. My strength isn't technique. It's perseverance. It's facing death head-on. His eyes turned red. Berserker mode activated. He stopped retreating. He advanced. Fuyun hesitated for a millisecond. She saw the madness in his eyes. A suicidal attack. Yoshito saw the opening. Gotcha! He attacked with everything. Fuyun, surprised, had to use her absurd speed to dodge and counterattack. She blocked, spun, and flung Yoshido back. But he landed on his feet, laughing. "You hesitated," he provoked. "For a second you felt fear. You gave me the chance to overpower you." Fuyun got serious. She remembered the report, infinite resurrection. He isn't afraid of dying. That's why he fights like this. He throws himself onto the blade to create an opening. He's a different kind of monster. Yoshido attacked again, relentless. She decided to end the little game. Yoshido came in with a powerful blow. Fuyun dodged at the last second, slipped inside his guard, and bam, a precise hit with her fist, or hilt, to the chin. The lights went out for Yoshido. Technical knockout. Yoshido woke up, actually, was resurrected from the faint, and the scene was chaotic. Yuri was literally pushing his soul back into his mouth, and Mona was in a panic. Fuyun Rido, on the other hand, was impressed. She approached the groggy boy. "You have a sword pointed at my throat 1 second, faint the next. You are interesting." Yoshito, looking like he had been run over by a truck, grumbled, "Did I win or lose?" Fuyun smiled. "Let's say you passed the test. But before you leave, I have a proposal. A personal mission from the Tokyo branch." Mona and Yuri's ears perked up. Personal mission equals lots of money. Fuyun's expression darkened. "A new tower has appeared, Persephone. We sent 2 elite teams to investigate, 10 agents in total. No one came back. The atmosphere grew heavy. We sent a rescue team. We found everyone dead on the first floor, near the entrance. No injuries. Heart stopped. No one knows how or why." Yoshido understood where she was going. "Let me guess. You want to send the immortal to find out what is killing everyone." Fuyun confirmed, without beating around the bush. "Exactly. You are the only one who can enter, die, and come back to tell the story. Do you accept? The payment would be astronomical." Yoshito, remembering his debts and the adrenaline, accepted. Yuri cried. Mona was worried, but he went anyway. The place was creepy. Fog, silence, graveyard vibes. Yoshito drew his new sword, Fos Animos. The red blade shone in the darkness. Skeletons emerged from the fog. Yoshido smiled. Time for the field test. The sword was light as a feather and cut bone like paper. In seconds, the skeletons turned to dust. Not bad, he thought, but the joy was short-lived. A purple mist surrounded him. The air grew heavy. A system notification appeared in front of him, red and flashing. "Alert! Persephone's curse activated. You will die in 2 minutes." Yoshido broke into a cold sweat, but then let out a nervous laugh. So that's how they died. Timed sudden death. No monsters, no bosses. Just a clock counting down to the end. He looked at the timer ticking down. Well, Fuyunrido was right. Only an idiot with infinite resurrection can survive this. Let's see how many times I need to die to reach the 2nd floor. While the other agents panicked and ran to the so-called safe zone, which wasn't safe at all, since they died as soon as they got there, Yoshido Takemichi, being smarter, realized the trick. The tower itself was the trap. Yoshito noticed some strange clouds moving against the wind and decided to follow them. The system even tried to scare him, warning that he had been hit by Persephone's curse and was going to die. But that's when the game changed. His inversion skill kicked in. Instead of dying, he got full health and became stronger than ever. Feeling like a Superman on steroids thanks to the curse, he chased the cloud until he found the source of the problem. A room full of mist and an overseer, a monster in a black cloak, who wasn't happy with the visit. The monster started throwing magic spheres and summoned a fountain of cursed liquid, filling the place with fog. The boss thought he had won, clapping and laughing, but Yoshido was far from giving up. But it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. The boss called for backup, some armed skeletons, and in a moment of distraction, Yoshido took a brutal sword hit to the back. He fell, bleeding, and it looked like the end. The monster laughed, believing it had eliminated the intruder. Seconds later, boom, inversion activated again. Yoshido stood up brand new. He looked at the boss and kept it real. "This curse of yours is basically a healing potion for me." With a single savagely powerful strike, he split the monster in half. With the boss dead, the cursed fountain was purified, turning into crystal clear blue water, Persephone's holy water. Yoshito discovered the secret. To clear the tower, you need to purify the fountain on each floor. Back at the Tokyo branch, he explained everything to Chief Fuyun and handed over the water sample, proving that now anyone could enter the tower using that as an antidote. Fuyun was so impressed with the discovery and the profit it would bring to the country that she filled a table with piles of money. Yoshito, who was drowning in debt, almost didn't believe it. "I wish every boss decided to give a raise by throwing piles of money in our faces, right?" Now rich, Yoshido paid off all his debts and went shopping. The problem? Money bought everything except common sense. He left the store with a sketchy leopard print jacket, making everyone on the street laugh. To cap off the cringe moment, he heard Sakiya Mona Mona's voice nearby. The girls were talking about going to the tower now that it was accessible. Dying of embarrassment from the ridiculous outfit he was wearing, Yoshido tried to sneak by, hoping not to be recognized. But his leopard jacket camouflage failed miserably. Sakia Mona recognized him instantly. The mood became that awkward silence, her looking at his horrible outfit and him trying to explain it was a rich person gift to himself. Mona was honest, too honest. Your outfit is a crime against fashion, but the money is yours. The girls explained they were going to Persephone's tower to get rich with magic stones and invited Yoshido. He accepted because he knew that with enough potions they would survive. But he imposed a vital condition: change clothes immediately. Thank God, a hero saving the world in a leopard print jacket just doesn't work. He'd lose all street cred with the villains. Cut to inside the tower. While a scary monster in a white cloak and scythe prowled the floors, the trio was on the 10th floor clearing the area. Yoshito humiliated a skeleton with his unique weapon, leaving the girls slack-jawed. He tried to seem humble, but was loving the compliments and the level up. The problem arose when the curse protection effect was wearing off. Mona, prepared, tossed a bottle of holy water to Yoshito. The protagonist panicked internally. Because of his inversion skill, what heals others curses him. If he drank that, he would die. He stood there, sweating cold, holding the bottle and wondering if he should tell them the truth. Imagine the situation. So, guys, I'm allergic to holy water and I heal with poison. Hard to explain without looking like an infiltrator demon. Before Yoshido could open his mouth, chaos ensued. An elite skeleton monster appeared out of nowhere, ignored the protagonist, and went straight for the most fragile target, Shiramaki Yuri. He grabbed the girl by the neck and dragged her away. To make matters worse, the system warned Yuri, "You have been cursed. Death in 2 minutes." She didn't even have time to drink the potion. Mona, furious, charged at the monster but was swatted away like a rag doll. Yoshido stepped up, attacking with everything, but the skeleton was different. He used 2 swords and blocked all strikes with perfect defense. Yoshido realized this wasn't a common enemy. The skeleton was just defending, buying time. And time was exactly what they didn't have. Mona shouted the fatal warning, less than 90 seconds left. Yuri was crying, trapped by the monster's arm, while the skeleton stared at her with a bloodthirsty look. The soul executioner, let's call him the hangman, wasn't just ugly, he was sadistic. He laughed in the face of danger, squeezed poor Yuri, and flew away, wanting to run out the clock on her curse. Yoshito, furious, realized the plan. The monster wanted her to die of fear and the curse before eating her. Yoshito and Mona ran after him like crazy. The hangman, seeing he wouldn't shake the duo, summoned an army of skeletons to block the path. Yoshito was worried about Mona, asking if she could handle it. Her answer? A psycho smile and flying swords. In seconds, she dismantled a skeleton with brute force. While Mona wiped the floor with the skeletons, archers appeared. Yoshido had to play goalie and defend his friend from arrows at the last second. The clock was ticking, less than 60 seconds for Yuri to die. Yoshido carved a path with brutality, destroying everything in front, until a system window appeared. An item dropped, Ring of the Dead's Secret Strike. Effect, deals lethal damage to the user every 5 seconds. Normal person, trash, I'm throwing it away. Yoshito, whoa, infinite health potion. Since his skill is inversion, damage becomes healing. That deadly ring basically made him immortal, fully healing him every 5 seconds. He equipped the ring instantly, laughing at his luck. The saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure, has never been so real. With the ring of immortality on his finger, Yoshido charged at the hangman without worrying about defense. He wanted to test the Fos Animo's skill, a 7-hit combo that needs perfect rhythm. The hangman tried everything, blocked, used magic, caused a giant explosion that left Yoshido bleeding, but 5 seconds later, ding, full health again. The monster started to panic. It attacked, the boy died, and came back brand new. Yoshido hit the sequence until reaching the 7th strike. An energy explosion shaped like flowers appeared and boom, the hangman couldn't take it and started disintegrating. With the monster defeated, Yuri fell from up high. Yoshido ran and pulled that classic movie rescue, catching her in his arms before she hit the ground. Yuri woke up confused, in the protagonist's arms. But there was no time for romance. Mona arrived shouting for her to drink the holy water, because the curse was still active. Yuri drank it fast and saved herself. Everything seemed perfect, except for one annoying detail. The system started filling Yoshido's vision with red windows flashing non-stop. Warning, you received lethal damage. Warning, you received lethal damage. Suddenly, the ring's stone cracked and started releasing a strange purple energy. Yoshido panicked, thinking he was going to explode, while the 2 girls looked on innocently, thinking everything was normal. But the ring didn't explode. The system sent a bizarre warning. Penalty limit exceeded. Basically, the ring tried to kill Yoshido so many times, and he healed every time, that the item got tired, broke, and turned into a simple rusty ring with no effect. Yoshido is such a hacker that he beat the item by wearing it out. The ring literally quit its job. Yoshido took off the useless ring and asked what they would do. Yuri, feeling guilty for being dead weight before, asked to fight. And my friends, she took that way too seriously. The shy girl turned into a skeleton grinding machine. She got so carried away that Yoshido and Mona had to beg her to stop and rest. With this new frantic pace, the group flew up the tower. In just 1 week, they reached the 30th floor. Cut to the guild cafeteria. Yoshido was there, trying to have a moment of peace, when he heard gossip. No one could open the 30th floor boss door. Mona and Yuri arrived with a valuable and confusing tip from a friend. To open the door, you needed something that was beyond the brink of death and was a rotten/rusty test. Yuri commented that many players had the ring of death but died when using it. That's when the light bulb went on in Yoshido's head. Everyone dies with the ring. He survived, went beyond death. His ring rusted, rotten test. Bingo! His broken ring was the key. He explained the theory to the girls, acting like a genius, but inside he was praying he wasn't talking nonsense. Arriving at the boss door, Mona tried to open it and failed. It was Yoshido's turn. He puffed out his chest, raised his hand with the ring, and struck a heroic pose, ordering the door to open. And nothing happened. An awkward silence took over the hallway. Yoshido started sweating bullets, imagining Mona stepping on him and calling him a failure. He insisted, concentrated more energy, and finally, the ring glowed blue. Click, the door opened. Yoshido let out the breath he didn't even know he was holding. He had managed to open the passage, but he was so nervous he almost forgot that, now that the door was open, they would have to face the boss. The plan was simple. Open the door, run away, prepare, and come back. The problem is that the 30th floor boss isn't a fan of quick visits. Before Yoshido could give the order to retreat, a giant black hand came out of the room, grabbed the protagonist, and pulled him inside like a rag doll. Yuri and Mona, in the fright, ended up entering too. Bam! The door slammed and magically sealed itself. The situation was this: locked in a sealed room with a boss that looked like a buff, psycho elf. The monster, an ancient priest, laughed, slammed his staff on the ground, and summoned a gust of wind that almost sent everyone flying. Yoshido decided to act fast. He drew his sword and went after the priest, trying an aerial attack on his horns. But the old man was smart. He activated a magic barrier at the last second. The barrier exploded, throwing Yoshido far away. And since when it rains, it pours, the boss used his favorite skill, summon minions. Dozens of skeletons came out of magic cocoons. And they weren't normal skeletons. They were fast, strong, and hit like trucks. One of them appeared behind Yoshido and a sword pierced his chest. Yoshido died and came back thanks to inversion. But he didn't even have time to breathe. Two skeletons jumped on him, pinned his arms, and a third smashed his face into the floor. While Yoshido was being used as a doormat by the skeletons, he realized something worse. The horde wasn't just looking at him. They were going after Mona and Yuri. Yuri tried to use magic, blowing up some skeletons, but there were too many. The whirlwind of bones surrounded the two girls. They were cornered, in a cold sweat, and with no way out. Yoshido, pinned to the ground and watching the two in danger, fell into despair. He screamed for the skeleton to get off him, but the answer was brutal. The priest, or one of his elite servants, showed no mercy. With a clean strike, he severed Yoshido's hand. The protagonist lay there, shocked, feeling excruciating pain and seeing his own hand on the ground, while chaos reigned around him. Things got ugly, very ugly. Yoshido screamed as he saw his arm flying, but the priest, the sadistic boss, was loving the show. To make matters worse, a skeleton grabbed his face with sharp claws, and right after, there went his left leg. Armless, legless, and surrounded by cannibal monsters, Yoshido stood no chance. He agonized on the floor, watching the boss laugh at his misery until he finally died choking on his own blood. You know that saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger? In Yoshido's case, what kills him traumatizes him. Having infinite resurrection is great, except for the part where you feel the pain of death every single time. Yoshido woke up screaming, in a cold sweat and terrified. He looked at his hands and legs. They were there. The system confirmed, you died. The memories of the pain, the blood, and the old man's laughter invaded his head. He cried, shaking like a leaf. The fear was so great he almost gave up, but he remembered Yuri and Mona, who were still inside. He needed to go back. The system warned that he would die again if he didn't confirm the skill. Yoshido changed the resurrection point and returned to the boss room. Back in hell, he saw the girls cornered. Yoshido tried to scream to get the skeleton's attention, motion, but no voice came out. He tried to make a fist, but had no strength. His body locked up. The trauma was so fresh that he simply froze, feeling like useless trash while he watched his friends hugging, waiting for death. It's easy to judge sitting on the couch, but seeing your killers again 5 seconds after dying, the body really doesn't obey. When everything seemed lost, the sealed door of the boss room began to glow with strange symbols, and an explosion of fire destroyed the entrance. In the middle of the smoke, a man entered with a flaming sword. He looked around and delivered the line, "I heard this door wouldn't open, so I decided to use brute force. No one told me it was already open."